Wow, life can just get insane sometimes. It feels like you're dodging bullets left, right, and center. And occasionally, you get hit by one. Just when you think the firing is over, you get hit again. How do you survive in leadership in a rapidly changing and increasingly hostile world? Get your heart ready, because this next 5 minutes may change and save your leadership life. I have learned through experience and observation that there are predominantly 3 leadership postures. Posture number 1 is standing with your arms aloft. In this posture, it's those days, it's those times where everything you touch turns to gold. Leadership posture 2 is when you find yourself on your knees. It's in these days where bullets are flying all around, and you just don't know where the next one is coming from. Leadership posture number 3 is when you are face down for the count. You've been hit repeatedly, and one more blow will take you entirely out of the game. In a rapidly changing and increasingly hostile world, bullets are going to come. Stay in leadership long enough and there will be seasons where you will get hit repeatedly again. So one of the best skills you can master is the skill of getting off the mat quicker than anybody else. You learn to do that and you will be catapulted ahead of the field in a season that is taking everybody else out. In Psalms 13, we see this exact picture. 6 verses made up of 3 distinct movements. In verses 1 and 2, David is face down for the count. In verse 3 and 4, he's beginning to rise up with some stink in his spirit again. In verse 5 and 6, he is standing with his arms aloft with victory in his spirit, his head and his heart aligned once more. Verse 1 and 2, David face down. O Lord, how long will you forget me? Forever? How long will you look the other way? How long must I struggle with anguish in my soul, with sorrow in my heart every day? How long will my enemy have the upper hand? Verses 3 and 4, he is now on his knees. Turn and answer me, O Lord my God. Restore the sparkle to my eyes, or I will die. Don't let my enemies gloat, saying we have defeated him. Don't let them rejoice at my downfall. Verses 5 and 6, standing with his arms aloft lifted high. But I trust in your unfailing love. I will rejoice because you have rescued me. I will sing to the Lord because he is good to me. How, in just 6 verses, does David go from being nearly totally wiped out to a position of victory so quickly?
I never could do that.
It's easy.
It is the relationship between the head and the heart. In verses 1 and 4, David's heart has an unbridled audience with God. He speaks how his heart feels. In these 4 verses, David actually says things that are just downright untrue. God has a memory issue. God is not aware of what is going on. God has abandoned him. None of these things are true, and yet curiously, in these 6 verses, God doesn't correct him, and moreover, David doesn't even apologize for what he said. Why is that? Well, because emotions are amoral. They have no moral value ascribed to them. And when they are released in a healthy way, they can be released without judgment or fear. The emotional release that's produced during these 4 verses starts to realign David's head and his heart. A shift occurs where David's heart can now believe again the truth about who God is. And with his head and heart aligned, David once more becomes the unstoppable leadership force that he was so famous for. What leadership posture do you find yourself in today? Are you in a purple patch of good things happening with your arms aloft? Then begin to practice the skills of having an unbridled audience with God. Are you perhaps on your knees with bullets flying all around you? Then give your heart a chance to have emotional release without judgment before the disconnect becomes worse. Today, perhaps you find yourself down for the count. Take some time away today. Get out of the place for a while and have it out with God. No matter what leadership, posture, or position you find yourself in today, as you walk this process out, one thing is critically important. Once your heart has had its audience with God, the mind has a job to do. The mind now speaks to the heart and says it's time to come back to worship. Because a head and a heart fully aligned with God is an unstoppable leadership force. So you know the drill. Hit that like button, subscribe and share with your friends, because next week we're coming in again with another 5-minute mark.